Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Carolina Disco Turkey Baseball here on YouTube. I'm Justin Zimmer. As tonight, the Carolina Disco Turkeys get ready to take on the Greensboro Monarchs in the final meeting of the summer for the Disco Turkeys on the road. And right as we come on the air, it has begun to downpour here from Finch Field. And so we are going to be in the starting this game under the conditions of a rain delay, as the tarp will get pulled out. So, tarp getting pulled out over the home plate area and the pitcher's mound, as right before first pitch, the skies have opened up. And so now the question will be the waiting game to see if and when we'll get this ball game in tonight. Rain will calm down roughly around 8 o'clock. But as of now, waiting to see how the rain will handle. So, rain delay is, you see Tyler Lloyd, the newest addition to the Disco Turkey roster. He's out right now, throwing out in the outfield. There's been no signs of lightning, but just a bit of a steady downpour. That's right now just right over top of Finch Field. So Tanneman and Locklear, they're going to get warmed up as the Disco Turkeys will get ready to take on the Greensboro Monarchs. So as we begin our pregame show tonight, Carolina comes into last night's game off a loss against the Asheboro Zookeepers in a CPL game. And for a night where for Carolina, they put up 4 runs in the top half of the first inning. And just regards to offensive production, that was it for the night. Just 4 runs. Just rough night in general as the Disco Turkeys took on their final CPL team in the Zookeepers. And you look at the summer, I mean, Carolina, the thing was this, they played competitive in a lot of those CPL games. So you can't put any negative fault to how they played against CPL competition. Again, the CPL teams have more Division I talent, and the Disco Turkeys comprise of talent from across the area. And talked to the general manager of the Zookeepers last night. He was impressed after that first inning, after the Disco Turkeys put up 4 runs, and was kind of worried about how his ball club would fare. However, the Zookeepers would come away with the win. So, at least in that night, the Zookeepers defeated the Disco Turkeys. And now Carolina gets ready for their final meeting against the Greensboro Monarchs, the final true road game of the summer. As after tonight, the Carolina Disco Turkeys have 2 games at home, taking on the Charlotte Blaze on Friday night, and then the Greensboro Yard Goats tomorrow night. And so, as of right now, we are in the midst of a little bit of a rain delay, as right as the coaches were getting ready to go out and exchange lineup cards, it began to downpour. So, bit of a holding pattern. You have a couple players now making their way back out of the dugout as it seems the downpour has stopped. There are blue skies just beyond left field. So right now, just Finch Field covered with a dark rain cloud. So we should be good to get this game going tonight. As right now, Scott Kirby making his way out. Going to probably play a little long toss with Tanneman. New Disco Turkey Tyler Lloyd. They just added him to the roster today. We'll talk about him. He's going to pitch tonight. Not going to start, so we'll come in relief. And then Pureman Breckbuell also out there getting a little long toss. Not much action in the Monarchs side. A lot of players in the dugout, but as of right now, there is a bit of a window to get this game underway. You have Mother Nature subsides. Literally, coaches were literally out exchanging lineup cards and then started downpouring only for about a minute or so. But that was enough to hold off the start of this ball game. So right now in a bit of a holding pattern, so gives us a chance to give you an extended pregame show as the Disco Turkeys get ready to take on the Greensboro Monarchs for the final time this summer from here at Finch Field. and the final road game of the Carolina Disco Turkeys season. So heading into the next week, really of the season, you end the regular season Friday night, and then Monday afternoon you're taking on the Triple ABA tournament with teams from across really Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, like that Rust Belt area. Carolina, the second most South team, other than the defending champions, the New Orleans Boosters. They've won it the past 2 times up in Johnstown. So stacked field making their way. We've not gotten the roster yet from Scott Kirby and his staff of who exactly will be on that team heading to Johnstown. I think they're still trying to see how many players they're going to have available because, again, as we mentioned throughout these past couple weeks, you have to cut your roster down to roughly 18 to 20 guys for this tournament. So right now there's still a lot of decisions being made. Talking to Scott Kirby last night, they are projected to have a lot of pitchers available on the roster, so you might have to see some pitchers go out and play in some defensive positions. That's still to be determined how Scott Kirby and his staff are going to want to manage the staff load. But right now, still in the midst of a downpour. But Andrew Poon is out in the bullpen warming up, so that's probably a sign they're going to at least hold for about 15, 20 minutes. See how the rain is. And now Poon is making his way from the bullpen, presumably walking to the dugout, so that might change the outlook on the start of this game. And I think all the Disco Turkeys are heading into at least the dugout or the party pavilion set up here at Finch Field along the left field line. So, and there's a good bunch of them in that pavilion area getting ready to go. So, yeah, no word on the start time for this ballgame. We'll give you the lineup for the Carolina Disco Turkeys tonight when this game does get going. Josh Delorier, he's going to lead off. He'll be out in center field. Bentley Yates will be batting second over at second base. Pierman Breckbuell batting third out in right field. Tanner Bray is the catcher. Adi McAllister is out in left field. Max Gustafson over at shortstop. Jonathan Barham making his third start of the summer at third base. Dino Tharp over at first base. Dion Tubbs as the designated hitter. And Grant Harris as the extra hitter. So Carolina going with 10 batters tonight. Andrew Poon, he will make the start. So the birthday boy from yesterday, he will start today. As right now, field is empty. Both sides have made their way into their respective dugouts, or at least have taken some form of cover. And as we get ready for a start time that we're not sure yet, but game is supposed to get underway at 6 o'clock. As right now it's 6:07, so that's most likely not happening. Barring the weather calms down, you would most likely think the earliest start time would roughly be around 6:30, maybe 6:45. Again, that's just depending on how the weather is and if it holds up for at least the next few minutes. But weather forecast tonight is rain off and on. And there's no tarp here at Finch Field. And that's going to have to be another consideration. That's going to have to be. It's not like a traditional infield where they have like a tarp from the side, they roll it out. The only tarp they have, as you can see on your monitor, is around home plate and the pitcher's mound. So they have the lines covered. So when they do get started, they should be able to get right underway. Probably take about 15, 20 minutes for guys to get warmed up, but other than that, players are already kind of beginning to get warmed up, so they should be good to go. There'll just be a little bit of a re-warm-up period as the Disco Turkeys and the Monarchs will get ready for the final matchup of the season. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have more coverage here from Finch Field. You're watching Disco Turkey Baseball right here on YouTube. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Carolina Disco Turkey Baseball here on YouTube. As tonight, the Carolina Disco Turkeys. No, dropped! So coaches are making their way out to the home plate area, so we should be good to go for some baseball on tap tonight between the Disco Turkeys and the Greensboro Monarchs. So right as of now will be the weather, but going to be off and on throughout the night, so we're going to see how this goes. But right now, weather should be in good condition as Finch Field is getting warmed up. And Andrew Pruitt, he'll begin a little bit of light toss so that we will get underway. Roughly start time now. Probably heading more towards the top of the 7 o'clock hour. But we're still with you here on YouTube. As the Disco Turkeys will get ready to take on the Greensboro Monarchs. So they don't teach you this in announcer school, what to do during a rain delay. But luckily a short one here, as both teams are going through and getting their warm-up tosses in. On both sides, and I think we should get underway here. Maybe within the half hour, maybe within. We're unsure, but coaches have exchanged lineup cards right now. They're probably just going through, hey, how much time do your guys need? How much time do our guys need? And go from there. The Disco Turkeys would be a little more warmer. They were out on the field before the Monarchs. And you can see that on your screen now. You see more Monarchs on the right-hand side of your screen. With regards to the Disco Turkeys, there's about 2 position players. Breck, Fuel, and Deloria is getting warmed up, and then Poon and Bray in the bullpen. And then for the Monarchs, the whole team is out there. 7-inning game tonight, so with the rain delay, we're going to see if that changes strategy at all. You would probably think not, but considering the weather just a few moments ago, because basically Poon had to warm up, cool down, now has to warm up again. Does that have any impact? So now that decision has to be made, and how do you want to manage that? So a lot of variables right now in play, and you just signed a new arm in Tyler Lloyd. We'll talk about him in a little bit. But how, if you are both coaches, do you manage your pitching staffs? Greensboro Monarchs only have a couple games left. The Disco Turkeys have 2 in North Carolina against the Blaze and the Yard Goats, and then the AABA tournament starts Monday, and that's where things can really get interesting with having to burn up a pitching staff, because again, we talk about roster cuts, but you're gonna have games. You're guaranteed 3 games: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in pool play, and then if you finish top 2 in your pool, you move on to Thursday, and then from Thursday on, it's single elimination. So pitching staff management is about to become of the utmost importance for both ball clubs, and heavily the Disco Turkeys. So it's decision time. As of right now, it will be Poon to start the game. And the question of the day is there going to be a shorter leash? Most likely not. If I had to play prognosticator here, and by no means take any advice I'm about to give and run heavily the Disco Turkeys. If I get into prognosticator mode, it's decision time. As of right now, it will be Poon to start the game. Your regularly scheduled distance. Now, if you have a
today
downpour,
is there going to be a shorter leash?
and it rains, I don't know. Most likely not. If I had to
30,
play prognosticator
35
here,
minutes.
okay, that's by no means take
Slight
any
cost
advice I'm
difference
about
in
to
the game,
give.
but if you have a
and
and
run
heavily
multi-hour,
delay,
then you're gonna have to
If I get
go
into
into your bullpen a lot quicker.
prognosticator
So it's
mode,
decision
then
time.
you're envisioning going into the bullpen.
As
So
right now, it will be
still throw
to start the game.
your regularly scheduled distance. Now,
And
decision
if you have a downpour,
is there going to be a shorter leash?
and it rains, I don't know.
Rain delay
Most
strategies,
likely
when we
not.
got here, we were not
If-
expecting
If I had to
30
play
or rain delay,
35
so-
minutes, okay, that's by no means take
Slight
any
cost
advice I'm
difference
about
in
to
the game,
give.
but if you have
Skipper
a-
and pitching
and
coach
run
multi-hour,
multi-hour,
then you're gonna have to
If I
go
go
into your
into
bullpen a lot quicker.
prognosticator
So
mode,
it's decision time.
then you're
off the
envisioning
field,
going into the
so
bullpen.
As
So
right now, it will be
still throw
to start the game.
your regularly scheduled distance. Now,
And
decision
if you have a
today
downpour,
is there
is
going to be a
start
shorter
the game.
leash?
And it
Start
rains,
time
I don't
yet?
know.
Rain delay
Most
strategies,
likely
when we
not.
got here, we were not
If-
expecting
If I had to
30
play
or rain delay,
prognosticator,
5 minutes.
umpire
Okay, that's
scene, by no means take
Slight
any
cost
advice I'm
difference
about
in
to
the
give.
game,
But
but if you
Skipper
have
and pitching coach
and
multi-hour,
multi-hour,
get
then
this
you're
game underway. I was just talking.
gonna
have to
if I
go
go
into your
into
bullpen a lot quicker.
prognosticator
Tough
mode,
decision
then
time.
you're
Off the
envisioning
field,
going into the
so
bullpen.
as
So
right now,
they
it
were
will
like,
still throw
like,
start the game.
your regularly scheduled distance. Now,
decision
if you have a downpour,
is
there going to be a
shorter
shorter
leash?
leash?
Start
time yet? Rain delay
Most
strategies,
likely
when we
not.
got here, we were not
There's looked to be a
expecting
bit of a
30
play
or rain delay,
5
so
minutes.
umpire
Okay,
scene.
that's by no means in the forecast. So I don't know why I was sounding double there for a second. This move. As now the Monarchs are making their way into their dugout, we should get underway with, and they're going to go right on the field. All right, so no opening ceremonies. They're going to get right into it. As we'll give you the Disco Turkey lineup. As the Disco Turkeys are under the helm of head coach Scott Kirby. Leading off tonight, Josh Deloriers. He's out in center field. Bentley Yates over at second base. Pierman Breckfuel out in right. Tanner Bray, he's behind the dish doing the catching. Aiden McAllister out in left. Max Gustafson at short. Jonathan Barham batting seventh. At third base, Dino Tharp at first. Dion Tubbs as the designated hitter. Grant Harris is the extra hitter. He's batting 10th. Give you the lineup now for the Greensboro Monarchs. Ellis Stokes leading off over at second base. Isaiah Williams-Rem at short. C.J. Johnson out in center field. Matt Rivers is the third baseman. Derek Martinez is over at first base, batting fifth. Cale Richardson, he is the DH tonight, batting sixth. Batting seventh, Connor Plaster, he's the extra hitter. Bennett No is the right fielder, batting eighth. Batting ninth, Colby Cunningham, he's out there batting ninth out in left field. And the catcher tonight is Hunter Whitlow. And the pitcher for the Greensboro Monarchs tonight, it's number 16, Trevor Barnes. He is the starting pitcher for the Greensboro Monarchs. As Barnes will get his warm-up tosses in. Field's a little more sloppy than it was when both teams came out on the field for warm-ups, but so we'll see how that impacts this game, but really shouldn't. It was only brief downpour for about a minute. They were just being careful before they had the guys go out there and lace up their cleats and get ready to take on each other in a regular season game. Because again, you don't want to have anybody get injured with summer collegiate baseball. Biggest point is keep everybody healthy. Make sure everybody goes back to their schools in full health, as Trevor Barnes is the starting pitcher tonight from the University of Lynchburg. As right now, Josh Deloriers will make his way over into the batter's box, wearing number 39 as he does on the road. And we're going to get ready to go as Deloriers will step in to the boxes. Barnes, Martinez, and Whitlow will have a final mound visit, discuss strategy. Whitlow will make his way over to his spot behind the plate. Umpire will hand him the game ball. And we're ready to go. Sit back and enjoy this one. It's time for Carolina Disco Turkey Baseball right here on YouTube as Deloriers steps in. As Barnes will get ready. Winds up, kicks and deals. First pitch, high fly ball. And that's going to be foul. So for strike one, 0-1 count. First pitch time at 6:26 p.m. Temperature 87 degrees and partly cloudy. As Delorias gets back into the box, readjusts. Calls time for a second, trying to get his footing down. As again, as we mentioned, with the little more of the sloppy surface, might be a little more challenging for the hitters at first to try to get their positioning. As that pitch in for a strike, 0-2. And they're going to call everybody off. So right now we're through at least 2 pitches in this ball game, and they're going to say they saw lightning. And that for now will send us back into a rain delay. And so when we come back, we'll have more Disco Turkey Baseball here on YouTube in a rain delay with Delorias in a no balls, 2 strike scout right here on YouTube. And welcome back to Disco Turkey Baseball here on YouTube. Sorry about the long break there. I was heading into the dugout trying to see the news from the dugout. But right now, the Disco Turkeys, they seem that they want to stay in play. So, again, there was lightning in the area roughly about 6, 7, 8 minutes ago. 10 on the upper half, but so you at least have the minimum 30-minute delay. And there's not much of a game to reset here. Delorier's first two pitches, foul and strike two looking in the top half of the ball game. Guys down there having a good time right now, throwing the good old football around. You got Josh Delorier's, Grant Harris, Pierman Breckbuell, Scott Kirby. Getting a little long toss in. But as of right now, still in a bit of a holding pattern here. And the count at no balls, two strikes. Rain delay started at 6:27 p.m. And beyond that, we're still working our way through, which should be a little bit. Now, Scott Kirby going to walk over and see what the news of the day is. But right now, it's rain in the forecast. At least has calmed back down, so that might post more of a positive odd, but positive chance of playing ball tonight, but we'll see. Most important thing is player safety, so that's of the utmost importance. As the guys are getting a little time with the pigskin, and now the real impact will be Andrew Poon. He was warming up before the rain delay, warmed up near the end of the second rain delay, near the end of the first one. And now he's back on the bench for the third time, not having thrown an official pitch in this ball game. So another variable here that you have to consider when in a rain delay, at least. But as of right now, guys are out throwing the pigskin around. And when we come back from this rain delay, count will be at no balls, two strikes. As Kirby there with a good toss over to Grant Harris. Might as well call some football here as Delorier's steps back out of the pocket. Deep ball to Breckbuell. Breckbuell will catch that one. As now Breckbuell gets ready to lace it up. Long ball. And caught there by off the hand of Delorier's. The count still at that. So no balls, two strikes. You're not here for my football play-by-play, so we'll end that there. So no balls, two strikes. The Monarchs still in their dugout. The Disco Turkeys in theirs. And Scott Kirby there with a little OBJ-like catch. Off the one hand as he will tattoo that one over to Grant Harris. And Harris, little trouble dropping it. But right now, the Disco Turkeys, they want to play. And, well, they're getting the competitive spirit out, at least some way, playing a little a little football, try to keep things a little competitive. As Delorier will toss that over to Kirby one-handed, but will fall. As again, still in the midst of a delay. Now 20 minutes since game was called off. But the guys, as of right now, they there was not really one negative, hey, we don't want to play. They all want to go out, compete. So that's a good sign right there. But again, you just want to make sure guys are ready to go as they're out getting the pigskin and toss. And unfortunately, this isn't like most networks or TV stations. We can't just cut back to original programming. So your view right now is the Disco Turkeys out there right now getting their football arms loose. Again, football's right around the corner. Begins some parts in August. Team's back in training camp, getting ready for the season. So as Scott Kirby has the phone out, getting a little video. Of the guys in the midst of a rain delay. So they're staying loose. The Monarchs got in their dugout. Now the question will be, what will they do with Barnes, their starting pitcher? Only threw 2 pitches, but roughly by the time this game gets back going, probably be not an hour, just shy of it. And so will that change their pitch count and their strategy? So there is now strategy talks that are going to happen in both dugouts on both respective sides. As now the umpires getting in a little bit on the toss of the old pigskin, the old football, and there. So get in the middle of a rain delay right now due to lightning in the area. In the top half of the first inning, no score. And Delorier was facing no balls and 2 strikes. So that's where the game left off. And we'll see what umpire's going to want to do. He's signaling up to the press box. I'll be down in 1 second. And so we got 5 minutes till first pitch, and we'll resume the game in roughly 5 minutes. So we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll rejoin you. Top half of the first inning, Carolina 0-0, and the rain delay will be over at roughly 6:56. roughly 30 minutes after first pitch. Some more Disco Turkey Baseball up here on YouTube. Game scoreless in the top half of the first. The Lauriers back up in 5 minutes when we rejoin you. As we come back on the air, now for the final time as they've called tonight's game off. And Andrew Poon, in frustration, throws one out to the wall. But that will be the end of tonight's ball game. Duration of the ball game, only 54 minutes, actually 54 seconds, with a combined rain delay total of 57 minutes in all. So that will be the end of this game between the Disco Turkeys and the Greensboro Monarchs. And that's how it will come to an end. So we'll wrap it up really by saying this: rain delay ends the ball game. And we will see you tomorrow night at Truist Stadium as the Disco Turkeys will take on the Greensboro Yard Goats. First pitch time scheduled for 6:30 p.m. So for all of us at Telemark Entertainment and the Carolina Disco Turkeys, I'm Justin Zimmer saying have a good night, and we will see you tomorrow night from Truist Stadium in Winston-Salem. Good night, everybody.